I think I did. I think we're already live, and I didn't even shower today. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? I'll have no choice but to shower tomorrow or Friday, because that is when this hair goes away. I gotta get me a haircut, and I scheduled one for Friday morning as to ensure that I get one this week, not next week. But yeah, so let's see here. Today I ordered a brand new set of Gundam snips. I mean, it's not what they call it, but you know, the model snips for when you're doing Gundam models. And these aren't them. These are okay, but these are not the ones. Well, I opened up the Amazon package. It's a bubble, mailer envelope, and there's just like a piece of cardboard, like almost like this, except it had the name of the product on it. And clearly it was the cardboard from the packaging where they have the plastic thing on the top of it. And there was no snips in there. So somebody at the Amazon fulfillment center must have just grabbed the box, the piece of the box that said the name of the product and stuck it in the effing envelope. And I mean, like, I was like, motherfucker, I was looking forward to getting that. I paid $35 for these snips. These were much cheaper. These were like, I don't know, 15, 20, I don't know. These are Tamiya. But I ordered some like $35 snips that looked like they were really elite, because when I'm cutting up the Gundam model kits, and just for reference, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'll pull one out real quick. Then we're gonna focus on the topic. So yeah, I mean, I got this Gundam here. It is based on one of my favorite Gundam types ever. So this is the V2 Gundam. As you can see, it's got that, the Victory Gundam second model. Basically, got a core fighter, and you got the cockpit and all that stuff right here. Now, I believe with this model, instead of making it transformable, the core fighter is, you build a separate core fighter, which is fine by me. I have another Victory Gundam that is much more advanced, but I misplaced half the parts. So, I mean, I misplaced all of the parts that I already assembled. So I got to find a part of the Gundam that I already assembled before I can work on it. But that one is like way more complex than this one here. The other Victory Gundam that I started a while ago, like, I basically built part of the core fighter and the cockpit, which is part of the chest. So you can see the chest right here. And I have some of these transforming. I can make it morph a little bit. But real quick, before we get on topic here, I'll just show you. So I didn't put the head on yet because the instructions did not tell me to put the head on. So I'm not putting the head on until the directions tell me to do that. Plus, it's easier for me to store the non-completed model if I don't attach the head. But just so you can see where the head goes, there it is. So that's the Gundam head right here. Now, I don't know much about the V2 Gundam, but I can tell you that the first Victory Gundam is basically the mass-produced Gundam. It's like in the Universal Century timeline, they didn't really have like mass-produced Gundams for the most part. They were always specialty units that, were expensive or unique. But the Victory was a mass-produced unit, and so the bad guys would often refer to it as like a fake Gundam or something like that. But I think it pulled through. Plus, it scared the enemy, because the enemy would see this thing fighting and they'd say, "Oh my God, there's a Gundam!" and it would make them crap their pants. And as attrition rates went up, they would say, "Is this due to the curse of the Gundam?" So I thought it was really cool. But yeah, I mean, you can see, like, it's all right now. If we really OCD analyze it, you'll see where... Did I turn my lights on? I did. Okay, good. So it's kind of hard to see, but you can actually see a little white mark right here. That white mark at the tip of my finger, that's basically the burrs from when you're cutting it off of the plastic sheet. And I used, different types of grit sandpaper. And even then, I couldn't get rid of all of the marks. You can see like 2 marks on both sides of this. Some areas I was able to do better. I find that it's easier to get rid of the markings on the yellow. The yellow doesn't seem to get stress marks, but the blue, when you're snipping it, yeah, you get some serious stress marks on there, like you're seeing right here. So I could probably do a better job on this, but I didn't want to spend all day trying to mess around with it. I figured if I have to, I'll get a Gundam marker and do some touch-up paint on there, even though I have no intent of painting it. Because I learned a while ago, I wanted to do fancy work, and it's like, wait, it really does. Like, I know, one time I said it, like it was some revelation, like, it adds time to the work to paint a Gundam model. But that's kind of goes without saying. I mean, you know, and it really does, you know. I'm going to remain, you know, focused on painting 3D printed models, but I'm not going to paint Gundams anytime soon. Or at least I will minimize the amount of paint. But anyway, give me a moment here to get a look at the chat. And then we will get on topic here. So I hope that sounds good to you all here. Good. How is everyone doing today? If anyone's in the chat, I will see your words in the chat any second now as soon as I navigate to the YouTube studio. Just wait for the computer to get me there. I'm clicking on a few things. And I'm sure, you know, some people might have saw my slideshow stream the other day. You know, it was a 9. Oh shit, the chat is oh good. Hey Bone, what's up, Bone? I'm cursing because so sometimes when I don't click no here, or when I don't click yes, I'm supposed to click no, the chat doesn't work. But this time it looks like the chat works. So good, go to bed, have a good night. But yeah, I just started, now you go to bed. That's cool, man. But at least I know people can see the stream. So that means a lot, you know, and you know, it's good to see you. And you know, I haven't been dropping by Eric O'Sullivan's lately. I gotta do that, man. I saw him on a I was on a stream with him last week with Pacific 414. We had a blast. We were talking about Star Trek. Yeah, that was a pretty good time. It was a great time having him on on Mike's being on Mike's show with him. So anyway, getting on topic here, let me just clean up my screen a little bit, close the port. No, I'm kidding, but okay, so the topic at hand today, I'm going to hit the record button in case I decide to recycle this. Right? Recording started. The topic of the day, I bought a Blu-ray, which is clashing with my chroma key right now. Well, I should have bought multiple Blu-rays, I guess, right? You know, there's multiple discs in here. You got Mr. Reinhardt here, Lord Reinhardt. You got this weird little slip paper here, I guess, so you can write your name on it. I don't know. I think that's just the way to mark box set number 1. This is obviously the Blu-ray box set number 1 for Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Now, I want to do some research and find out if this white box edition is any different than the blue box edition. As I understand it, they're both Japanese editions. That's weird. How would disc 1 go at the end of this box? So what the hell disc did I put in my computer? I'm so confused. What disc? Oh, okay, that's weird. So I put a disc in my Blu-ray drive. That would be disc 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1? Why is there 2 disc 1s? What? Oh, that must be like a special features disc, maybe. Okay, whatever. I'll figure it out later. So I ripped disc 1, not because I'm trying to make bootlegs, but because there are no English subtitles on this media, on any of these discs. There is a subtitle track, just not an English one. And so after I used an application called Make MKV to, you know, make a backup copy, I ended up with 2 .mkv files, which you can see right here. And the problem is, let me lower the volume here. I don't want it getting all loud. I do want to hear it though. Well, got to be careful because like I basically have to pay attention to like the YouTube studio screen, make sure it doesn't like flag this as not mine. Just gonna clean my mouse ball real quick. So yeah, this was recommended to me like a year ago or something like that. And someone the other day, I described it as it's like Gundam but without the mechs. And it's really not, but insofar as me being a Gundam fan, the person who recommended it to me, I think it was, you know, gave a reasonable facsimile to like, so I would at least have a general idea of what I was getting into. And other people would assert, no, this is like Game of Thrones in space. And I'd say, okay, that's more accurate. But from my point of view, I'm not going to watch something if somebody tells me it's Game of Thrones. I've never watched it. I have no desire to watch Game of Thrones. No offense, but maybe, you know, someone would convince me otherwise. But this, when they said, you know, like space battles, big engagements, I was like, heck yeah, get me in. So first thing I noticed an issue was, I knew there was no English subtitle. I had every intent of adding it myself. And I was able to do that with episode 1. But there's a Japanese subtitle track, and I, for the life of me, cannot see what is in it. You know what I mean? Like, I see, okay, the name of the show, this is not a subtitle track. This is part of the Japanese edition because I could not turn off that text. Like when I say turn off subtitles, it doesn't go away. And then on top of that, there is a text down here, and that's not controlled by the subtitles. So apparently that text is part of the video itself. It's burned into the video. But here's the real caveat. This one file is 2 hours and 24 minutes. So it's got chapters like on a DVD. And you got chapters 1 through 5 are episode 1. Chapters 6 through 10, as I float my mouse over here, is episode 2. Then, 11 through 16 is episode 3, 4, 5, basically. So it's like 5 episodes. I think something like 10 episodes between these two 40 gigabyte files of 37 gigs to be exact. So I did a test, and part of that test was to obtain these subtitles. So what happened was I downloaded a bootleg of this a long time ago. And so when I downloaded that bootleg, I have it in this folder on my media server, private media server, personal collection. And if we pick any episode, we'll see that there are subtitles in here. And so if I go here, I go to subtitle track, English Central Anime. Now that's important. Oh wait, I meant to hit the mute button. Anyway, that's basically the fan subgroup that subtitled this. I believe it's Central Anime of Kansas. But anyway, they did a great job on this. And so same thing, we got the music. And here's a great example right here. This text is part of the subtitle track. And it's kind of funny, but this is, German. And that's why they put Japanese text. That's why the Japanese version has kanji letters here. Heldensagen von Kosmosinol. Okay, give me a minute. Heldensagen von Kosmosinsel. Something like that. So, yeah. So, for the Japanese people, they have a translation on the bottom here. For us English speakers, Central Anime created their own text in a very similar font. Not quite the same font, but you can see they put effort into, sourcing a font that would be close enough. And then we got this song. Now, these subtitles I didn't know, but yeah, they're part of the original, I guess. Yep. And then when we get into the show, we'll just skip into it. Okay, we got blue text right here when the narrator is speaking. You got yellow text when a character is speaking on screen. So right off the bat, the type of subtitle format being used here has different colors and it has other features. So when you see a new character, they will also display the name of that character on the screen, although I'm not sure when, maybe here. I'm going to find it. There is a scene when you see a bunch of generals appearing on screen. And when those generals appear on screen, they show you their names. We're going to find this. Here we go. Perfect. Right here. You got the guy speaking Japanese, so we got an English yellow text subtitle. But down here, we have a name card. It says, Hi, Admiral Reinhard von Lowengram. And so throughout this series, as you get introduced to this large ensemble cast, I don't even know if that's the right word, but you get introduced to a large cast of characters. They, have these name cards come up to help you remember. So now, what is the anatomy of these subtitles? Well, basically, this particular file is an MKV file. The .mkv format is a container format. It can contain the video track. The MKV container format can contain the audio track or audio tracks if you got different audio tracks, and it can be for different languages. The audio tracks can also be for, like, say, surround sound and stereo sound. And then on top of that, you can have you can have subtitle tracks. You can have just one, more than one, but the key is that these are subtitle tracks that you can turn on and off. So now, what I did was I found a really cool trick. Well, not really cool, it'd be even cooler. I had trouble automating this, and at some point I do intend on figuring out how to automate this. But in order to remove these subtitle files, so for example, this file right here, which, yes, has a .ass file extension. This ASS file right here is from the first episode, and basically each of these files has a corresponding match. So it's going to expand that now. ASS means Automatic Substation Alpha Subtitle. So sometimes it'll be abbreviated SSA or ASSA. So how did I get that? Well, I opened up this application called Subtitle Edit, and it's in my start menu, you know, free download, really easy to obtain. Then we open it up, we click on the new button if we want to, you know, make sure it's a clean slate. And I took an episode from my bootleg collection, which I think is over here, and I dragged and dropped it into the media player box right here. Okay, so far so good. But what about the subtitles? Well, I don't remember, but we're going to figure this out together right now. Okay, I just dragged it to the left side, and it's parsing it. There we go. It took a few seconds. Now, I noticed this thing pops up. I usually just ignore it because the fact that they're giving you the option to click no, never seems to imply that you could ignore it. But I don't want to completely ignore it, so I just hit cancel. But essentially, the video is 640 by 480. For some reason, it's offering to adapt it for widescreen. I don't know why, but I'm just going to say no. And in fact, is that 640 by 480? Let's double check, because that is a little suspect. It could be 640 by 480, but let's be sure. In the VLC Media Player, all you got to do is go to codec information in the right-click menu. It is 960 by 720. So actually, yeah, I guess I could adapt the subtitle to that resolution. I've never done it. We're going to find out right now. But you see, it's basically 720p, 720 vertical lines of resolution, and 960 wide. Hey, what's up there, swashbuckling supersonic soprano September? That's right, we got swashbuckling supersonic soprano. Oh, I got to reply to your comment, man. I actually, I'm glad you dropped in, because I do want to say, I want to thank you for dropping a comment on my slideshow video. And I think you had some reasonable words, because, like, you know, in general, I have the same hopes that, like, you know, that the wars that ensued and that CIA operations and, you know, power that was given to these agencies, that it was for the best, that it helped to prevent worse harm. But I think it's reasonable to question, you know, official narratives, and it's reasonable to question, you know, secret agencies, you know. And so that I forgot to reply, but I also wanted to reply to the other comment from the guy, because he had a pretty reasonable comment too. And what I want to do is what was it? He said something about, like, how annoying it is, people with the conspiracy theories, and I get where he's coming from. But what was it? Yeah, I can't find it now. Oh, here it is. I do tire of reading so many conspiracy theorists and whatnot regarding the tragic day conspiracy theory. So yeah, I tire of reading about conspiracy theories on the day, but I'm mainly tired of reading low quality conspiracy theories, you know. I'm open-minded, you know, just that I think everyone likes to have a simple answer to everything. So yeah, so okay, we opened up this video in VLC, and this episode of Legend of the Galactic Heroes is a downloaded copy that has subtitles built into it, and they are in the format of ASS, Automatic Substation Alpha. And these subtitles are great because, like, they can have different fonts. In fact, that was a glitch. Did I just break that? So yeah, basically ASS subtitles can allow you to have things like these fonts over here, as well as different colors text throughout the show. So that's something like I covered earlier, including these big letters here, which might be part of the original. And real quick, let's just check. Yeah, yep. That one terror topic is so much more than I could comprehend. Yeah. Well, any normal citizen, it is above us. Yeah, I'd say, you know, to some degree it is above us. There's some interesting parallels. Like, I think that so many people purport to be experts on things, or pretend to know more than they do, or let their confirmation biases get them. But like, you know, for example, I mean, just interesting stuff with Bush. Like at the time, his vice president was, you know, Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney's an interesting guy insofar as he existed across multiple administrations. He was there during Reagan's era. He was there during Bush Senior. Rumsfeld too. Rumsfeld was there way back during Reagan and Bush Senior. So it's kind of interesting when you see the same cast of characters in the second Bush administration in, you know, whatever year that was, 2001 or whatever. Um, so yeah, like some things that make people suspicious, or at least make them wonder about people's motives. But moving on from that, so let's see here, and we got Action Man Sports and Gaming right here. It's good to see you too. Oh yeah, man. I don't know if you guys met before, but he's a pretty cool cat. Well, he's not a cat. I believe he's a man of action. He's not a cat. Cats are not men of action. Although, you know what's interesting? So there's this parasite. I think it's called something ganjai. And it's a parasite that lives in cats. And it infects people. And it's the reason you get like crazy cat ladies. So if you ever like know girls who have like 20 cats and their house smells like cat and cat piss, it's apparently, it causes this parasite that hijacks part of the brain to like motivate them to be like fond of cats. Now that's the downside, I guess, but on the upside, apparently this parasite also makes people more adventurous. So in nature, maybe like or like in caveman times, if you're more adventurous, you're more likely to kill a bear so that you can have dinner. And of course, if the cats are, you know, hanging around us humans, they get, you know, free windfalls. And cats certainly have proven to be good at, you know, manipulating humans through their cuteness and all of that. So I thought that was very interesting. So I forgot how I got on topic. Oh yeah, so maybe a cat does make a person of action. I don't know. Maybe it makes a woman of action, action woman. But then again, when cats smell, that could be kind of annoying too. Like the other day, this girl who looked moderately cute sat next to me on the bus, and it kind of smelled like cat. But not just cat. It smelled like, you know, when your house smells like cat. And I mean, I get used to it. It's cool. It's cool. But I just thought it was kind of interesting. But shit, I'm supposed to go back on topic. Yeah. So anyway, I did notice a minor glitch with my subtitles, but I think that's because I do not know why this episode has glitchy subtitles. But let's go to episode 2 for a second. And we're gonna go here. We only have one subtitle track, so that's how it should be for all of the episodes. Now, what I did was I opened up the video file and the subtitle file in VLC. In Subtitle Edit, which is the name of this app right here. And if we play the video in here, we'll see that we get all of the text, including the intro text right here, where it says Heldensagen von Cosmin. I can't read German. Heldensagen von Cosmosinsel. That's my German. Yeah. So anyway, you know, this is a Japanese anime with a German name, but you can see they got Japanese kanji letters on the bottom for the Japanese, and you got English over here, which was added by the fan subgroup. And what's really cool is normally the subtitles are very plain. You'll literally just have the text line up with the first line of words that show up. But before the very first text that appears in the episode, we have a shit ton of comments in here. You can even see it says comment, 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 comment. And it says basically, this came from a Laserdisc. It even says like, this is a remaster of the original script. We tweaked the times, standardized the style, and edited the English. In short, we prettified them. Sync point, pause Laserdisc player, start Laserdisc and computer. So somebody had a Laserdisc player hooked up to a computer, and they had like basically hit the start button on the computer and the Laserdisc player at the same time to get these subtitles to synchronize. Remastered using 29-point Jacko font with drop shadow and outline. Okay, so that's the font they used apparently. And they put a bunch of variables in here saying, so when they put the word F1 into the thing, that's like a font modifier. And they put a shit ton of variables here to represent different font modifications, and then they slipped in what looks like code, but you see like it says D-Yiffy at anime database, then it says Legend of the Galactic Hero. So this text right here, Legend, is this part right here, and so on and so forth. And then at some point, I think we get to the music. No, this is actually the blue text. So you got the blue text over here and this blue highlight, but then you got this code here, which looks like hexadecimal. I don't think it is though. HFFF8. No, it's not. But it represents the settings that dictate the color of this text. Hey, what up, Blue Lemon Pie? I don't know why I called you Blue something. There was a blue person here before, but you're Lemon Pie. It's good to see you, man. Yeah, Lemon Pie. I know him from another channel on YouTube, which I believe was that on Sully, or was that on Clobbering Times? Clobbering Times. Yeah, Clobby had a good show tonight. So basically, yeah, you got like all kinds of comments in here, but essentially this particular format, and I guess this is the point I was supposed to get at a minute ago. The point I was getting at was I bought a Japanese Blu-ray that does not have English subtitles. I made a copy of the Japanese Blu-ray. I have the episodes on my hard drive, right? And but these episodes don't have Japanese subtitles. So I went to my bootleg copy, because I have a bootleg copy of this particular anime series, because originally, before I could buy it, I downloaded it. And frankly, it's really hard to obtain this legally to begin with. I mean, the fact that the only way I could obtain it legally at a reasonable price was without subtitles kind of indicates how troublesome it was. But luckily, we had these episodes that were subtitled by a fan subbing group. And if I open up the video and I drag and drop the video on the left side here, I get the transcript. Then I go to save as, and boom, it lets me save it as an ASS file. ASS means Automatic Substation Alpha. It's a subtitle format. And so once I have that extracted, I literally extract the subtitles and their timings. I now have 10 episodes, 7 episodes worth of subtitles right here. All of them are in the ASS format, which means, like I said, it says Advanced Substation Alpha Subtitle File. So that's what ASS means. And so now I need to, go to the episode I ripped. So I did it. Well, here's the problem now. When I ripped it from the Blu-ray disc, it didn't give me 1 episode per file. It gave me like 10 episodes. Something like 10 episodes. Or maybe it's like 8 episodes. But basically it's like 7 or 8 episodes right here. It's basically 2 hours and 24 minutes. Each episode is about 24 minutes long. And so if I go to add subtitles to it, it's going to get confused and try to add the subtitles only to the beginning of this file. So I can't add subtitles to this one at the moment. So what I did was I had to, unfortunately, ultimately I'd have to do this anyway. Adding subtitles to the first episode was easy. All I had to do is add episode 1 here. Then I would click over on the subtitle tab and click import subtitle and select the file. The problem with doing that here is that, did I make a mistake before? I hope I didn't make a mistake. Uh-oh. Gotta check something now. Well, we'll check the file right now, might as well. Okay, so the most recent file was one of these here. So we're gonna go here. It's highlighted already, so I'll open up the file. So basically, I took it from the Blu-ray format, which resides in this file, and I converted it to a newer format called HEVIC, High Efficiency Video Codec. And then I did not add subtitles to it, even though I wanted to. So why didn't I add subtitles? Because the timings would have been messed up. But now I have an episode that has the correct timing, 24 minutes and 4 seconds. So we can do 2 things. This is episode, 7? What episode is it? 7. Okay, so let's go here, subtitle track, and add subtitle file. Now here's the thing. This will only allow us to add temporary subtitles. But it will allow us to test out these subtitles before we go crazy. And so, looks like my computer is freaking out. That's interesting. Why is the window transparent? Okay, well, anyway. Now we have the subtitle. There we go. Oh, that's disgusting. Okay, so it looks like it screwed up the font on the central anime subtitles. So this is adequate, but I can't say I'm crazy about it. Yeah, I can't say I'm crazy. Like this font is okay. Well, actually, it's the original. Let's see how it looks over here. Okay, that font's okay. So maybe I need to download the missing font. Maybe that's the problem. I mean, luckily we have that information here. So I'll investigate that and find out what I need to do. But I think they literally gave the name 18-point Jacko font. So I don't know what a Jacko font is. It sounds like, Michael Jackson. So let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. Whoops, I typed in the word 18-point. I should have just typed in. Okay, so that's a Jacko font, I guess. I don't know what the fuck is a Jack. this will warrant further investigation. Let's focus on the topic at hand, because at this point, at least we have a subtitle file that makes the episode watchable. So that is my priority. I'm a little disappointed that the font at the very beginning is messed up, but let's proceed anyway. So now here's my caveat. I got two options now. I could take the file that resides here and run it through the encoder again. Because remember, video encoder is compressing it to give you a smaller file. It's doing stuff like that. And I can say import subtitle file. I can say, okay, go here. Episode 7. I can give it a name, or it's going to tell me what language it is. So all I got to do is type ASS or ASSA here. And I can say make it my default subtitle, so it turns on the subtitles automatically. Now that's all great and dandy, but my issue is that if I process this through the video encoder with these settings, I think it's going to compress it again, which could lower the quality. I really am concerned about this here. So, I mean, we could try it out of curiosity, but my theory is going to do three things. It's going to scan, it's doing a subtitle scan. In fact, it already did it. Now it's processing it at about 40 frames, 30 frames a second. It's going to take about 15 minutes for it to process the episodes. Actually, it will process it at a quicker rate than it originally did it before, so that's good. But it'll cost me 100% CPU power to make that happen. So that's the downside there, is like, I got to wait 13 minutes. I mean, I literally queued up these video files to re-encode earlier today so that we wouldn't have to wait for them while streaming. And that was like my whole point of, you know, setting these up, queuing them up earlier today. No big deal, just that's what it is. And they're about 1.1 gig is in the size. That's not terrible. OBS is only using about 11% CPU power. Most of it's going to Handbrake. That is the video encoder. Now earlier, I used the method I just demonstrated for extracting subtitles, but we may have another trick up our sleeve. So if I go and I pull up episode 7 from the bootleg set, we may be able to finagle something here. So let's give it a shot. We're going to go to here. I'm going to go take this. Oh, and that's interesting, actually. This is a separate topic I got to remember to cover. I could have getting the yawns right now. I'll be falling asleep soon, I guess. But anyway, let's really quickly touch upon something here. So before we proceed, we're going to touch upon one thing regarding compression of video. So over here, when I'm using the VLC Media Player, I'm using the NVIDIA encoder, which, you know, we can see as evidenced in the settings file, or settings button here that will load. We got NVIDIA encoder. In fact, we're using NVIDIA encoder with the HEVC, which is high efficiency video codec, or also known as H265 or X265. And we're running at 32 megabits per second. And these are some of my presets. But the key is we're using NVIDIA encoder. And what that does for us is it reduces the amount of CPU load. So for example, like right now, only reason you see 100% CPU load instead of like this 25% that we had before is because I'm running a video encoder right now. But basically most of the workload occurs in this particular graph right here when I'm recording a video in OBS, or when I'm streaming in OBS. And that's a good thing, because it means that my CPU has resources free when I want to play a game or something like that. But the advantage of a CPU-based video encoder, such as the one that we're using in Handbrake, is that it can get us greater compression. It can give us a smaller file while giving us better quality. So we get better quality and a smaller file size. The problem is, excuse me. Oh, okay, so anyway, that problem is, you know, we get a smaller file, better quality, but now it's using up more resources, and it oftentimes can't do it in real time. Now, in this case, the video is about 30 frames a second, 29.97, and we're processing at 37 frames a second. So basically, this will take less time than the episode. The episode is 24 minutes long. This might take, looks like it's actually going to take about the same amount of time when everything is said and done. The NVIDIA encoder, on the other hand, can generally, in fact, the whole point is that it can definitely process it in faster than real time. Oh, excuse me. I don't know why I got the yawns so all of a sudden. And that is cool to be able to process it in faster than real time, because obviously we're live streaming. Now we could, set up a CPU-based encoder in OBS and get it to process faster than real time. We'll be making too many compromises there. Using NVIDIA encoder with the current settings, I get very good quality. Okay, so the bottom line, spoiler to a point. My current settings when using NVIDIA encoder generates really large files. And I can demonstrate that by finding a folder containing really large files. And I'm sure I have one open here somewhere. In fact, we're going to just open up the folder again. So we'll go show recordings. This right here is my OBS folder, or my OBS recordings. Now, all of the files are MKV files, so I don't really need to see that. Seeing the length can be helpful, but I basically care about the date of the recording and the size. So you see like 2 gigabytes for 26 minutes. 4 minutes takes about 1.1 gigs. What's the largest file? I have a 77 gigabyte file right here. Now, I don't know what's in that file, but we're going to find out together. Okay, so in this place, I'm holding a massaging device, except that I have paint bottles attached to it. In fact, I have them right here. These are tester's paints, because any oil-based paint needs to be really shooken up before you can use it. And I think this is actually during a live stream. I joined someone named Snacks and Comics in a live stream where he was building Gundam models and I was painting a starship. And I basically still have to paint the rest of this, but my plan is I was originally going to repaint it because I didn't think it came out perfect, but the color is good. The color came out well, but I need to do detailing basically, and I'm just going to settle for whatever result, and I can always print out a new one and start from scratch and do better. But anyway, my point is I recorded my side of the stream, so he has his own stream. It's still up somewhere, and I think at some point I did a stream on my own channel, maybe? No, I think I ended at the same time as the dude, yeah. My keyboard is off this time, I'm just saying, yeah. Now, reason I skipped to the end, I wanted to prove to you that I did not record any private conversations in StreamYard, because some people do that, I tend to refrain from that type of thing. I don't want people to think I'm sketchy. In fact, that's how I got the color. I had to paint, mix blue, green, and white together to get that shade of starship. So anyway, I could probably just straight delete that file and call it a day. But what about these other files? Let's take a look. Once again, I have no idea. Oh, that's cool. My turtle is in a box. Oh, look how cute she is. Oh my god, it's so cute. Oh my god, that's awesome. I gotta make a GIF out of that. It was awesome. Let's play that back. I want to make a loop out of that. Aw. Oh my god, it's so cute. Let's cover me up so we can only see the turtle. How cute is that? How freaking cute is that? Having a turtle come out of a box like that. I forgot what the topic was. I'm so transfixed by my turtle here. I gotta take it out of the tank. I mean, I try not to bother her, Try to leave the turtle alone, and let them kind of live. But, I should hang out with them a little more. Take them on camera, play with them a little bit more, socialize them better. You know, it's always a balancing act trying to socialize the turtle, but also respecting their boundaries, you know? And I think it's important to respect a turtle's boundaries. Man, they look like alien creatures, you know, don't they? Okay, anyway, getting back on topic here. So yeah, this was, I think, when I was recording my, was it my Super Mario stream? What was this? What was I streaming? It was a random live stream. Oh, I see, it's looping, so I can't even, wait, what was this? Okay. Aw, that's her head. I think I was going to my Babylon 5 cards. We got some hard drives in there. Got some familiar names in the chat over there. So yeah, okay, that's like a 40 gig file right there. So if I don't want to delete these files, I need to get them to become smaller. How do I make them smaller? Well, this program, which I can also use for extracting subtitles, lets me compress them. And I mean, I can do it in Handbrake. So I'm using Handbrake for the Blu-ray episode right now. But generally, I like to use this one when I want fine control. The only time I don't use this is when I have a known issue with it. Until I figure out that issue, I'll use Handbrake. So right now I'm using Handbrake for my Blu-ray stuff, but this program is very powerful. And so, for example, I had a gameplay recording of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. It came out to 22 gigs basically, and we have it right here. Good game, by the way. I had fun playing it. I really love the space combat in this game. Like, that's like basically the reason I bought this game. I have it on my Steam Deck. I had to lower the graphic settings for it to play. Oh yeah, this was so cool. Yeah, okay, let's start. I'm gonna watch myself. It's true. Oh. I agree. Me too. I'm talking to myself. I would totally replay this level. After, you know, tweaking my graphic settings. I did not watch my frame rate drop like that. I mean, it ruins a cool part of the game where you get to activate a rocket booster, because that is cool, man. That is cool, being able to activate a rocket booster on a fighter plane while the space aircraft carrier goes up, which I don't know why they wouldn't just let you board the carrier, but okay. Maybe they don't board the carrier in order to reduce the weight that the space aircraft carrier has to carry. I mean, this is some cool. This is basically why I play video games, to play games like that. See, I said it in the stream too, in the original recording. I never streamed this, by the way. This is a recording. So, you know, the quality is pretty good in this original copy. But I wanted to get the file to be smaller. So what I did was I dragged and dropped the icon of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, a 22 gig file, and I dropped it into you know, a new file. And if we go here, we have it right here, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. But what I did was I did like 4 different copies. So we went from a 22 gigabyte file down to 5 gigs, and that's using the higher quality settings here. And then if I pick lower quality, I get 3.8, 3.6, and 3.3 gigs. So let's look at the 5 gig file, because even if we keep only the 5 gig, even if we only keep the 5 gig file, we're coming out ahead, you know? Like, I mean, 5 gigs versus 21 gigs. That's a quarter of the original size. Yeah, oh yeah, I want to watch this part. So as I can tell, the quality seems indiscernible. And the reason for that is because when I recorded this, I used the NVIDIA video encoder in OBS so that OBS would not eat up my CPU power. And then by using a video encoder after the fact, you know, like when I'm not here, I run the video encoder when I'm at work. I run it when I'm not using the computer. So this program here, you know, ties up a lot of resources. It makes the computer, you know, makes other applications run slower. But that's okay if I'm not using the computer. I'm not even home. That's the perfect time to run it. It could take anywhere from, like, let's say this is what, an hour and a half of footage. It could take as little as 90 minutes to process it. It could take 3 hours to process it. But even if it takes like 4 hours to convert 90 minutes of footage into a smaller file, at least now when I archive it, I only have to archive a 5 gig file. And so my plan is, in the long term, is to do this to everything in this folder, unless it's actively being used in an editing project already. But anything that I am not presently editing in DaVinci Resolve, oh, that's cool. Tactical collision. That's a fancy word for ramming. Hooah! I'm sitting in front of myself right now, in case you're wondering. Yeah, can I stop talking? Yeah, the ship is actually lining up to... Now, other than that, so okay, 22 gigabyte file. and we got it compressed down to 5 gigs right there. So I could basically delete that original file right now if I want. Even better, we have a 3 gig file here. The 3 gig file looks, I can see the quality loss. I can definitely see it. So let's see, that's 38 minutes and 38:58. So you probably can't see it on YouTube, but I see like the colors getting blotchy. I see some macro blocking. It's very subtle. It's not really a bad quality situation per se, but it's like, it's less than perfection. Whereas if we go here, we go to same time index of 38:58. I feel like I can see the same quality issues that I saw before. I want to say it's slightly better. Well, either way, I can tell this is not noticeably worse than the original recording. And so with these current settings, I can go ahead and delete this 20 gig file right now and I could live happy. So let's do that. I'm going to do Shift Delete because Shift Delete will bypass the recycling bin. And why won't it let me delete it? Because it's presently opened in this application. Now, if I wanted to, I could re-encode it using different settings. But I think we're fine here. In fact, let me double check the settings I used here. You know what? I see I actually have multiple copies set to re-encode. And I actually created multiple copies in different settings so I could kind of evaluate the difference in file size. So basically, each of these file names contain numbers to represent these settings. And how these settings affect file size. So maybe I won't delete the file yet, but I probably should just to get it out of the way because I think what we have is already adequate. Let's get rid of the file. Let's do it. Let's just get rid of it. We can always use a different file as our guinea pig. I don't know. I'm on the fence about deleting this right now. You know what? I'm not going to delete it yet because I had a little snafu with the settings. I need to make sure I get this copy to encode before I delete the file. So I can't delete it yet. But let's go through, find a larger file. Now, once again, I want to make sure I didn't record any print. Oh, good. I found, what game is this? Is it Zelda Tears or Breath? Okay, this is Breath of the Wild. And this is just me jerking around for 2 hours in the game. Like, I'm literally just jerking around. I get some stuff down. I cooked some food in this, recording. And this is from my Nintendo Switch. So, yeah, I'd say the quality looks about as good as I'd expect. She looks pretty cute. Hope Zelda gets to hit that. I mean, Link gets to hit that. This is like the first time I get to fly in the game. I feel like the frame rate looks a little off here. Oh, the frame rate looks good over here. I'm not sure if the quality is perfect because when I record to my Elgato, the Nintendo Switch is slightly cropped, and so I kind of enlarged the image a little bit to fill up the entire screen. In fact, you can see little black lines on the side here because it's still not filling up the entire screen perfectly. That's a issue I run into with my settings right now. I just kind of live with it. But all in all, looks, sufficiently well. But once again, we're using NVIDIA encoder here. So we got a 27 gig file. So let's go ahead and make that file smaller. We're going to use the same process I used for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And so from the top, we give it input file. And so that input file is here. But you know what? I made a mistake already. Let's change the file name. So I'm just going to open up a different file first. And then I believe it was one of these 27 gig files. Once again, I got to make sure it's not pornography. Okay, good, it's not. So that's 2 hours basically. So I'm gonna call this, let's see here. I guess we'll just call it BOTW because we can clearly see, wait, no, wait, that's not, wait. And BOTK. I think I did both games here. I gotta double check. I don't remember because the beginning of this recording is Breath of the Wild. That is definitely Breath of the Wild. No, wait, that's Tears. Oh, well, I'm mixing up my games here. I'm sorry, guys. That's Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, I mean, obviously. Okay, so anyway, now that we got our game straight, we're going to take that file, we're going to open it in Hybrid, which is very much like Handbrake. It's just different. Oh, and good, our subtitle file is ready. We're going to check that out in a minute. So this program, which is very much like Handbrake, you know, in Handbrake, you got your video encoder settings here. In Hybrid, you have to pick what video format or video encoder you want to use first. So from the top, I usually make sure I'm using an MKV container first. Then I either pick X264 or X265. Fun fact, if you live in the year 2001, you would probably download a bootleg movie in the XVID format and maybe DivX. Is DivX even listed here? Yeah, DivX X265. They got a 260. Oh, that's interesting. That's a bit of an anachronism. Anyway, so I'm choosing X265 because even though it has less compatibility, I haven't had any compatibility issues using it. It's the newer format. It gives me either better quality or a smaller size or some combination of both. So we're going to use X265. It's basically a version of MPEG-4. Now, when we go to this tab here, basically whatever codec we pick changes the name of this tab over here. So if I pick, you know, whatever codec I pick, that will dictate the tab here. And, you know, different codecs will have different settings, but for X265, you would normally be able to pick, say, a bit rate, like how many megabits per second. But what I like to do is pick either constant quantizer, or constant rate factor. And I'm choosing constant rate factor because after doing some reading, that seems like the way to go. And then from there, you pick a number. And basically the trick is you pick any number between 18 and 23. Really, it's like 20 to 23. The lower this number, the better your quality. But any number above 23 is going to give you like noticeably lower quality. So generally, I'm going to stick with this. Now from there, we got some presets here. And I generally don't pick animation unless I'm dealing with like an episode of Family Guy, let's say. Because like an episode of Family Guy, you're dealing with really flat colors. Very flat colors, you know? And so, like, how do I phrase it? Like, the computer has trouble compressing that. Like, basically, to compress video, like from an episode of The Simpsons or Family Guy, you will see a noticeable loss in quality. And so, by using a preset that specifies animation, that can help matters. And sometimes, like, the preserved quality of a cartoon, like a regular cartoon like The Simpsons, you'll end up with, like, a ridiculously larger video file. And so with a lot of anime, it's not practical to use a animation preset because sometimes anime will be grainy. It'll have film grain in it. And if you're dealing with film grain, then you're better off maybe picking the grain preset. And we do have a preset for grain. But I find that when I pick that preset, I end up with a much larger file. So generally I avoid the preset. The other preset here is, so you got tuning and preset. This is like a speed setting, and basically you pick the slowest setting that you're willing to tolerate. Generally, I'm not willing to tolerate anything slower than slow. Like you got slow, slower, very slow, and placebo. And generally, I'll try to pick nothing faster than medium. If I need to convert a video really quick, I'll pick the fast preset. But at that point, if I need to convert a video really quick, I would just use the NVIDIA codec, which I've used in OBS. And that's one unique thing about the NVIDIA encoder is that you can get an obscenely fast speed. So, in fact, let's do an experiment. Let us do an experiment. We're going to pick an NVIDIA encoder file first. We're going to go, and it says NVENC. And we got NVENC X265 and 264. We can use either one. And, you know, we can pick our quality setting here. We could pick a preset, which we can leave alone here. I think, oh, it's got performance. Here we have performance versus quality. So we'll pick performance. And we'll leave everything else alone. And then we're going to basically save this file here, which is the old file name is up here. That's our input. I'm going to say, give me an output file. We're going to call it this. And in fact, I'm going to put it in its own folder right here. And in this case, actually, I neglected to give it a name. So I didn't give it a unique name. So I want to give it at least a different name. So what I like to do is I like to put a hyphen at the end. And I'll put like X265 or F20, let's say. Something like that. That's all I really need to put. Why is it yelling at me? Oh. There we go. And then from there, we can say automatically add all of the audio tracks. Or we can just say pass through. In fact, we're going to pass through because we don't want to touch the audio. We're going to keep the audio in its original format. So we're just going to use pass through. We don't want to crop it. We don't want to resize it. We don't want to apply filters. We don't want to do any of that. So we're good to go. We're going to hit add video. Now it's in the queue. And you can see at the bottom of this queue, we have a file. I do have a couple items paused here. But we're going to force it to run just one file right here for now. So here it is. And unfortunately, this progress bar is absolutely confusing because it's in the middle of another file. I hope this progress bar resets. Otherwise, I'm going to have to open up a new file, a new copy of this program just to kind of like, you know, get it to report the status correctly. And I'm going to go and begin that process. And while we're waiting for that to happen, we're just going to just put that up here. And I'm going to finagle that. But essentially, you can run multiple batch jobs at the same time. We don't want to in this case. So I paused the other ones. But now my computer is sort of like, you know, well, the program is giving us confusing output. So we're going to go and I'm going to repeat the steps I just took a minute ago. So I'm picking the NVIDIA encoder, X265, a rate factor of 20, MKV, same folder. Why is it not showing me the same folder? In fact, we're going to start over. So we're going to stop this one. We're going to remove it. We're going to leave the items paused over here. And I'm going to basically tell it to go and save this file to the same folder. Okay, so we got everything in there. We got audio pass-through, so it's not going to waste any time converting the audio. We're going to add it to the queue just like we did a minute ago. And we're going to tell it to start on this file right here. Boom. And there we go. So now we've given it the input file. That was a 27 gig file. Are we gonna get a smaller file here? No, because we told it to use NVIDIA encoder. Why? Because I want to just prove to you how fast this works. Now, to do this, I'm gonna pause my recording. Now, here's a cool trick. When I hit the pause button on my Stream Deck, watch what happens in Task Manager. See that? So when I'm recording video in OBS, the video encoding bar shows up, but when I'm streaming through OBS, since I'm using the virtual webcam, the video encoding part doesn't do anything. Now, what I do find weird is how the 3D part jumps up. I find that very weird. If I say resume recording, this is obscenely weird. I don't know why that happens. I don't know why the act of pausing video recording causes this to go up. It must do some weird trade-off thing. I don't know. I got to ask around, but that's a different topic. But bottom line is that now it's kind of initializing the encoding. It's not running the encoder yet, but it will run it in about 10 seconds. It'll start. I think tomorrow, even though I should be doing Tech Thursday tomorrow, I think I'm going to do a Gundam build stream. I'm going to clean my desk and do a Gundam build stream. I might ride my bike tomorrow, then clean my desk, then do a Gundam build stream. And I got to catch up on some friendly YouTubers. I really should be catching up on a few good people, such as Pops and Ryan Roger Afty, because they had some good content Today was the first time I woke up early in a while on my day off. First time I woke up on my... Okay, I wake up early on, you know, my work days, but today was the first time I woke up early on my day off in a while. And I was able to watch Loki's Mornings of Mischief, and that was fun. It was a good episode. So actually, this is interesting here. It's going to take 36 minutes for it to convert 2 hours of video. A little bit less than 36 minutes at this rate. In fact, actually, it's going to jump up. So right now it says 35 minutes remaining, but you can see the counter is dropping rapidly. 29 seconds, 27, 25. Like, it's going to actually update the estimate. But here's the ridiculous thing. Using the NVIDIA video encoder, well, right now with my current settings, I'm going to go from 27 gigs. Probably going to end up with a file size that's bigger. So, what is the advantage of the NVIDIA encoder? Well, the fact that it's able to process high-definition video at 200 frames a second. And I've seen it do better. I've seen it process high-definition video at 300 frames a second. But generally speaking, if you're doing standard definition content, this video codec, the NVIDIA encoder, and whether you're using this program, which is called Hybrid, or you're using Handbrake, if you use the NVIDIA encoder as listed here, using it with standard definition video, it will process it at like 900 frames a second. I've seen it go up to 1200 frames a second before, but generally, like, it depends. It's always going to do, you know, standard definition faster than high definition. And it, you know, it's very fast, but you use it when you're in a pinch. So if I needed to like re-encode a short video clip to put on StreamYard to show to people during a live stream, for whatever reason I need to convert it into a different format, I would use a video encoder if I was like, you know, squeezed for time. But for something longer, there's generally not any benefit, because if you're going to take a long time re-encoding something and you're not home anyway, you don't want to use a GPU-based video encoder. It's nice to leverage your graphics hardware to speed up video encoding and to reduce the amount of energy. Because that's another thing. Oftentimes, using the NVIDIA encoder, which is not showing right now, but usually this will not be at 100%. For some reason it is right now. I must be using some kind of setting. Let's see if we can find out why. It doesn't really make sense to me. Actually, that's interesting. FFmpeg is doing a lot of the processing right now. Oh, and that reminds me, I have a new thing to test out. Ooh, I got to test out a new application. It's a graphical tool for making FFmpeg scripts. Basically, FFmpeg is an app that runs in the back end to support video encoding. A lot of programs call it up behind the scenes. But you can also literally invoke it from the command line. You type a command that starts with FFmpeg and say, convert this video into another video. I've used it before to get it to spit out JPEG files. I was able to convert a video into individual pictures using FFmpeg. But anyway, getting back here. So bottom line is, I gotta say, I am a little surprised at the unexpected nature. I am surprised how unexpectedly high the CPU usage is when using a GPU, a graphics, you know, card-based video encoder, aka hardware-based encoding. So we're gonna cancel that. We're going to remove it from the list, and we're going to close the app because we don't need it right now. And we're going to go and now check on the recently completed file, because remember, we completed a file just now. It's right here. Let's take a look. Open destination directory, and it should highlight the file that we just encoded just now. Oh, by the way, I gotta upload a video soon on data recovery. I nearly lost 16 terabytes of data and was lucky to be able to not lose 16 terabytes of data, and that will be an interesting video. So here it is right here. Let's check, is our subtitles track? It's not gonna work, I don't think. I made a oopsie. But okay, so I can't turn the subtitles off over here. But apparently I must have picked the wrong setting because the subtitles are working. Why do they work? Ah, there's the mistake I made. Okay, that's actually kind of instructive there. In order to add subtitles to, an episode of this anime series, I had to first use Make MKV to rip the Blu-ray disc, and I did. I used Make MKV, and it generated, believe it or not, two 40 GB files in a folder that is currently misplaced. All right, that's it. We just I might have a few too many. Oh, here it is. Okay. After using Make MKV to rip the contents of Disc 1 of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, I ended up with these two 37 GB, basically 40 GB files. Each 40 GB file contains like 7 episodes in chapters. And so if I want to convert these into individual files, I have to use it in chapters. I have to use Handbrake. Handbrake is a popular video encoding application. It's available for free. This is the user interface right here. And do I have 2 copies? Nope, that's the queue. So anyway, I take my file, I open up the 40 GB file in Handbrake. But how do I turn 7 episodes into 1 episode? Well, you pick the chapters. So for example, we'll do it right now. We got 7 episodes contained in this one file. That's nearly 40 gigs. We're going to open it up in Handbrake. Okay, there we go. We just dragged and dropped it. Next, we're going to go to the chapters up here. So you can see chapters 1 through 30 take up 2 hours and 24 minutes of time. Well, chapters 1 through 5 equals 24 minutes. That's 1 episode. I've already checked. Chapters 6 through 10, that's episode 2. Okay, so 6 through 10 is episode 2. 11 through 15 is episode 3. 16 to 20 is episode 4. 21 to 25 is episode 5. 26 to 30 is episode 6. So episode 7 would actually be in the second file right here in chapters 1 through 5. So there we go. We got it, episode 7. And then we can, go and tell it what folder. So this was our input file that came from here. And we want to save the output in this folder here. And you can see I already have a list of files here because I've already done it. But we're going to go and we're going to pick one that has the same episode number so that it will fill in the file name for us. I'm just going to put in SSA or ASS, doesn't really matter. ASS is the same as ASS is the same as SSA. It's the subtitle format. But basically I'm putting in like the settings I used, X265 video encoder. There we go. So from the top, I've already picked X265. In fact, I got to pick it here. So we're going to pick X265 video codec. We're picking 10-bit color for multiple reasons that I'm not going to get into right now. Frame rate, well, we're verifying it, but we want it to be the same as the source, and it is. We don't want a variable frame rate, so I picked constant frame rate. Quality, well, 20 should be fine. You don't want to pick a number lower than 18. Anything lower than 18 is usually unnecessary overkill, but 20 is usually more than good enough. 23 is usually more than acceptable by most people's standards, but anything above 23 is going to create a radical reduction in quality. And I can show you an example of that in a moment. Optimize. Encoder preset. Well, basically, once again, the slowest setting that you're willing to tolerate, that's the setting you pick. And that's it. These settings affect the file size and the quality of the video. But what about audio? Well, let's see what we have. Add all remaining tracks. Well, right off the bat, we have a duplicate surround sound track of older format. We're going to delete that right now. Hey, what's up, Keely Chow? Just to give you what we're doing right now. Basically showing how I went about, or how I'm going about adding English subtitles to my copy of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Legend of the Galactic Heroes was introduced to me by Brian of the Nerdporial Lifeform, as you might know him or have heard of him before. And when I was on an Orville live stream with him, he kind of gave a simple description that made me want to see it. A lot of people would disagree, but he said it's basically like Gundam, but without the mechs. It's not the most accurate description, but it got me to watch it. His description like that, by using that description, by saying it's like Gundam, but without the mechs, got me on board. What this show does feature, however, is large space battles, huge fleet engagements, like, really big fleet engagements. It deals with like geopolitics. Is Swashbuckling? I think he left, but that's okay. But yeah, I think Swashbuckling and Lemon Pie left a while ago, unless they came back. But yeah, like there's no spaceships on here, but you can see how they got these guys in military. Oh, cool, we got Dad Man Walking. It is an honor to see you today, Dad Man Walking. I mean, of course, it's always an honor to see Keely Chow as well. But yeah, so basically, I'd say another way to describe this is Game of Thrones in space. In this particular series, you have basically a corrupt democracy. You have a corrupt democracy. You have this guy who's grappling with being the hero of the Republic, but also kind of trying to forward the ideas of Republican democracy. He does not want to see, he doesn't want to see like corrupt politicians take root, but at the same time, he also believes that he has to follow orders from the civilian government, for better or for worse. On the other side, you have the Empire, basically. And these guys are sort of like, I wouldn't say the bad guys, it's sort of like what do you call it? Enlightened despot. So you got like, would you rather have an enlightened despot, or enlightened monarchy, or a corrupt democracy? And that's what you have in this. So anyway, I downloaded a bootleg a while ago, but I wanted to buy a good quality Blu-ray of this, and it would have cost me like over $1,200 to buy the American one, because they only make a special edition. They didn't make like a basic edition of this. So I had to buy the Japanese version that does not have English subtitles. And so in order to add subtitles to it, the good news was I was able to download, extract subtitles from the bootleg I have. And I have a bootleg right over here in one of these folders. Here it is. Yeah, I have a bunch of episodes in here, and they do contain subtitles. In fact, they contain very good subtitles. Like, they are in a format known as Advanced Substation Alpha. And ASS subtitles are great because they can do different sized fonts. So right here you can see how, like, it says Heldensagen von Kosmosinsel, which is German for Legend of the Galactic Heroes. And so whether you're Japanese, you're going to get Japanese kanji letters at the bottom here. But these were added by a fan subbing group. People who, fans who do subtitles of, anime series. And they actually did it from the Laserdisc. And I can tell because when I open up the subtitles inside of the subtitle editor, it says right here that this is a remaster of the original script. They tweaked the fonts, they edited the English, and hey, welcome back, Lemon Pie. And it even says here, like, some comments. It says, sync point, pause Laserdisc player. That's what LD means. Start Laserdisc and computer at the same time. So somebody had to hit the button on a Laserdisc player and on a computer at the same time in order to, I guess, record the video and get the synchronization of the subtitles right. And they did a bunch of, like, extra work practically coding it in order to make sure the fonts and the text appeared in a certain way. So what I did was I opened it up in this program and I told it to save as an ASS file, which we have right here. And then once I save the ASS file, I can either open it temporarily in VLC Media Player. Like, VLC Media Player actually lets you add temporary subtitles. So if I was playing this off the Blu-ray disc, I could theoretically go here, add subtitle file, and temporarily add subtitles that aren't on the disc. But I want to add the subtitles permanently, right? So what I did was I had to re-encode the episodes, and I already did that part. I had to actually break it up into, break up the chapters. And once I did that, we got our quality settings, which, by the way, it's like 5 gigs per episode. With these settings, I can get it down to about 1.3 gigs per episode. And so we get it down by at least a quarter of the original file size. We could do better if we want, but I'm keeping it this way for now. Audio settings. There's actually 2 surround sound audio tracks on this. We really only need 1, so I decided to keep the better one and ditch the older or lower quality track. I can convert it to another format, but for now, I want the audio quality to be exactly as it was before. So I'm going to say use pass-through. And we have basically a stereo sound and a surround sound audio track. Now, here's the moment of truth, subtitles. Now, we don't really need the foreign audio scan subtitle track. This is basically for when what do you call it? When, like, Klingons are speaking Klingon and you get the subtitles on the screen. That's what we're looking at here. Now, from what I can ascertain, there's a Japanese subtitle track that doesn't contain anything. And I've checked already because... Actually, I haven't checked. Let's check right now because this is kind of important because I know there's no English subtitle track, but there is a Japanese subtitle track. And if I open it up in this program, it should display the text eventually. But in the meantime, let's get back to Handbrake. Where did my mouse point? I got to clean my mouse ball again. Yeah, I got to clean the ball here. We do need to import subtitles. So this is episode 7. So we're going to go click import subtitle. And luckily, I bookmarked the folder containing the subtitles right here. And that's the episode. Boom. Now I have it. And it says English language subtitle, font code. Now, this might be the reason I had some problems with the fonts before. Most of the fonts are perfect, but I have to do a little research and find out if I got to use a different setting. But bottom line is what I want to do is I want to type over here what format the subtitles are. ASS. ASS stands for Advanced Substation Alpha. It says it right here. ASS. See? .ass Advanced Substation Alpha. That's just the format of subtitles. They're very good. They have a lot of cool features. And we want to make it our default subtitle. You can edit the offset. If the subtitles were not quite in sync, you can offset them. But I tend to avoid doing that in this program if it becomes necessary. So we're ready to go. Now all we did was we basically said, this is my input file. I said use chapters 1 through 5, which is episode 7. And I said import this subtitle file. And when I run this program, it's going to spit out a file that contains subtitles. Now, earlier I made a mistake. Earlier I clicked the burn in. And what burn in does is it burns in, yeah, obviously, it burns in the subtitles. And what that means is it creates like permanent subtitles. It literally makes it part of the video track. And we can demonstrate that by skipping here. In fact, this one don't even have subtitles. Let's see. Yeah, this one's missing subtitles. So we got to find the correct one. And I'm going to guess if I sort by date. Whoops, that's the wrong file. It's going to be this one. Okay, there it is. Okay, I keep opening the wrong file. We'll try one more. Huh. I don't think I deleted it. Let's go back to the queue and see. We're going to go back to the queue. That's queue, not queue continuum like on Star Trek. That's like the queue, like a line. Like if you're in England, you got to wait online. They call it waiting in a queue. Okay, so there's the episode. Okay, there was my mistake. So this episode I made a mistake on, but it has the correct subtitles. You're going to see over here, I can't pick any subtitle track here. But the subtitles do work. And we're going to see right here when we get to the title and about right there. That's actually part of the subtitles. So there is a glitch with the font. This is supposed to have a font that matches the German text. But everything else is perfect. But the difference is using these subtitle settings, I normally would be able to turn off the text, but because I accidentally clicked the burn in, it made the text part of the video track, which could be good sometimes. Sometimes you want subtitles to be permanently embedded or burned into your video. but generally speaking, we want to have the ability to turn the subtitles off in case we need to pick a different language or different subtitle format. And that's why I'm re-encoding this file. But at least we know I was successful in adding the subtitles. My only concern at this point is the fact that the German font isn't working. And so what I might do is like add subtitle font missing and maybe see if there's like a setting here, because I'm going to bet you that it's related to the setting, the error message I'm seeing, the example someone did here. So they're doing it on a different operating system, but using similar settings. They're showing off their log file, showing like, here's my stuff. Well, that's a interesting, complex thing. I'm probably better off not digging in the weeds on that right now, but at least we know why. Let me just switch back to the live stream. So bottom line is, at this rate, using the current settings, it would take 90 minutes to convert a half-hour episode to another format. And I plan to keep it that way, but what we're going to do is we're going to stop the encoder real quick. I'm going to click reset. And I'm going to pick a different video codec real quick, just for kicks and giggles. We're going to pick NVIDIA encoder. And I'm going to say, we're going to pick a very fast preset. And we're going to hit the button here. We're going to bump it up top. We're going to hit go. And we're going to do a little science project. I want to see how long it takes this to encode. I'm going to bet you that, well, right off the bat, with these current settings, it's still using up CPU power. That's interesting. Normally, using a GPU-based hardware encoder should trade off using this graph here. This is my graphics card doing the heavy lifting right now with the video encoder. And all of the work should happen here. Now, I am presently recording in OBS, but we could pause the recording. Now that I paused OBS, you'll see that this graph went down because OBS is no longer, running the video encoding. That's one of the reasons why I use the NVIDIA hardware encoder in OBS. My OBS settings actually use this particular video encoder because it doesn't use up really any CPU power. Normally, it doesn't use CPU power. But here's the crazy thing. It's processing the episode at 200 frames. Before, it was going at like 10 frames a second. Now it's processing at nearly 200 frames a second, about 160. And so that means a half-hour episode at 30 frames a second. Okay, that's a half-hour episode that plays at 30 frames a second. Will only take 3 minutes to convert. And when it's done, we will have subtitles that we can turn on and off. And so, in the meantime, you know what I could do? I can keep it going. I can say, let's add things to the queue. So the next episode is episode 8. Episode 8 is chapters 6 through 10. I'm only going to do one extra episode for now, just so we kind of see how this works. I pick H265, 10-bit color. Realistically, I should probably just pick medium. But basically, the slower the setting, the better the quality you get. Yeah, I should probably just pick medium. Let's pick medium this time. The higher this number over here, the lower the quality, but the smaller the file. Generally, I would pick a number between 20 and 23. So bottom line is I'm going to pick X265. Quality setting is in the file name. We put the subtitle format, and I'm going to tell it it's episode 8. Wait, that's episode 7 now? I might have mixed up my episode numbers. There's 30 chapters, 6 episodes. So yeah, I mixed up my episode number. That's okay. We can deal with it later. And so same thing this time. I'm going to delete the subtitle file. And I'm going to add we're going to add, import the subtitles for episode 7. See it. Bottom line, this is our second file. We're going to go here. We're going to import the subtitle file for episode 7. I need to streamline some of this process, but for now, we'll do it like this. Make it our default subtitle. Make sure we pick SSA or ASS as our subtitle format. And we just add it to the queue. Then we do the next episode. What is it? Chapters 11 through 15. And same thing, except I'm missing the subtitle file for this episode. So what am I to do? Well, first, let's make sure we have the right episode name. So I put episode 8 on the bottom. Now, where do these subtitle files come from? Well, oh, that's interesting. I crashed this program trying to identify the Japanese subtitle track. I've either crashed it or you can't see it right now, but if we look at the application here, we can see a little progress bar. So it looks like this program was actually processing something. But I don't have the patience to wait for it, so we're going to just kill it. And we're going to open up subtitle edit again. Oh, and it looks like my last video encoding completed. So we're going to close this shit. We're going to go here. We're going to say reset that. We're going to open up the destination folder and we're going to see how the file that we just did came out. Now it came up as an enormous file, I believe. It came up at like some obscenely large file size, like 2 gigs. So that's too big. And that's because I used the NVIDIA encoder. The NVIDIA encoder gives us a really large file. So the only issue I have is that I'm not getting the correct font on the title. But everything else is perfect. Yep, we got the correct font for the name card. So that's fine by me. We have the correct color fonts. So I would consider this a success. I was able to add these. Oh, I don't want to ruin this. I was able to add these subtitles from the bootleg copy to this episode. And the only issue I'm seeing right now is, did I pick the wrong subtitles for the episode? In fact, there's 2 problems with this one here. This file, I noticed, has some serious interlacing, so I might end up having to buy a different version of this series. That's why I'm only buying 1 season at a time, to be sure, because I'm seeing these horizontal lines when it plays back. And that gives me the Jeepers Creepers. Like, I cannot have those horizontal lines. It's almost like I bought a Blu-ray edition that contains a copy of the Laserdisc edition. That freaks me the fuck out. Like, that is not right. So I'm going to delete that file right now because we don't need it. And we're going to go and investigate. Have duplicate folders open like 5 times. But yeah, bottom line is we were successful in adding the subtitles to that file. We could turn them on and off. So I have optimal settings, and the only issue is the font isn't quite right, but for now it's not a big deal. But at this stage, what do I need to do? Well, I want to get episode 8, was it? I mixed up my episodes, I think. Yeah, I think it's episode 8. And we could be sure. So that's chapters 11 through 15. So let's verify it. Chapters 11 through 15. Is that correct? So I got to first find the folder that I misplaced like 5 times today. There it is. I'm going to check chapter 11. Which is right here. And actually it doesn't give me an episode number, does it? So the only way I know is we're just going to open up the subtitle file and see what happens. We're going to temporarily open up the subtitle file for episode 8, which reminds me, how do I get the subtitle file for episode 8? Well, we got to extract that shit. So how do we extract it? Well, luckily, I have a folder containing the bootleg copies of the episodes. somewhere here. As soon as I find it. Good, there it is. And we have the files that I want to save. So we're going to go here. I'm going to go and open up the application Subtitle Edit. Hey, that's weird. I don't know how long that window is filling up the screen, but that was annoying. So anyway, we're going to take episode 8, open it up on left side only in this case. Oh, and actually, I think I just figured out why the fonts got messed up, and I might be able to fix this. So it looks like it did it on its own. So basically, we got the correct subtitle format. That's the answer to my problem. I think I answered my own question. So, you know what? We're going to find out together right now. So let's take the same episode, open up episode 8 on the right side of the panel, and verify that it's the matching chapter. And then after I do that, we can, okay, so that is not the correct episode. Wait, is it? Okay, so let's try episode 7. Okay, that's episode 7. I want to make sure I don't save changes. Let's check episode 9. Looks like I mixed up episodes here. I'm absolutely confused right now. All right, so let's see here. So we go back. We have 2 folders here. We got the Blu-ray folder. By the way, if anyone wants to see a September 11th slideshow, I did a video with some exclusive photos. I do plan on doing another follow-up slideshow. It is kind of depressing, but I think I did justice on the topic. I probably don't need to do a follow-up for a while. So I'm looking for a specific episode right now because I went to chapter 11, I think. Was it chapter 11 or chapter... Yeah, I think it was... Wait, that's what's happening. I'm mixing up my episodes all up the wazoo. Okay, so 5 chapters. This is chapter 6. This is chapter 7. Well, I'm sorry, episode 7. 6 through 10 is 7. This is episode 8 right here. Yeah, there it is. Okay, good. Episode 8. Okay, so episode 8 resides in chapters 11 through 15. So let's verify. Episode 8 is chapters 11 through 15. I got to remember that. 11 through 15. There we go. So we know for a fact now that this is episode 8. And that means that if we go and we create a new file in this program, I'm going to repeat that for the benefit of the recording. I have an episode that came from this disc, or it came from a disc in this box. In particular, it's episode 8. I need to add subtitles to episode 8, which is part of chapters 11 through 15 because it was in one large file. But where do my subtitles come from? Well, my subtitles, the only subtitles that I could find anywhere, these aren't even available for download on opensubtitles.org. So I had to go and pull it from my bootleg copy, basically. And it's not like I wanted to, in fact, I bought it as soon as I could. I own the episode now, right? I own the discs. But the only way I can get subtitles for this Japanese edition is by extracting them from this bootleg file. So I'm verifying that I have the right file because, it didn't look quite right just now when I looked at it. In fact, there might be another issue. This version might be incongruent with the other version. And if that's the case, boy, I'm in trouble. But we're going to try to line this up before we give up. Or before we, go crazy. So let me just see what I got. Oh man, I got to clean up my desktop here. Got too much crap open. Let's close these depressing 9/11 photos. Oh, I might actually be able to use these files to process each episode. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, 6 episodes. Okay, you know what? My mathematics is off. It's 6 episodes per disc. So that means that if there's 6 episodes per disc, then chapters 1 through 10, 1 through 5 would be chapter 7. 6 through 10 would be chapter 8. This is episode 9. That's my final number. That is my final number. This is episode 9. So now that we identified the correct episode, okay. Now that we've identified the correct episode from the chapters, because unfortunately, each disc consists of 2 very large files. At least that's what happens when I try to use Make MKV to rip them. And so I had to figure out that chapter 11 through 15 on file number 2 is episode 9. And now that I know it's episode 9, I can go into the folder which contains the bootleg copy of this cartoon. And the only reason I'm using this right now, the reason I'm using this bootleg copy is because this bootleg copy happens to contain really good subtitles. Right? We got them right here. And so we want to make sure it's the right episode. So we're going to skip to the beginning of the episode and verify that it matches the footage. And I'm a little concerned it doesn't. So we're going to actually open up 2 videos at the same time so that we can kind of line them up with one another. Okay, so 2 minutes and 36 seconds, but we got to go to chapter. So this is not the, this episode didn't start the way I expected it to. So I need to see this. I'm seeing the wrong thing right here. So I'm getting utterly confused right now. If I clean up my desktop, I could probably find what I'm looking for quicker. But for now, we're just going to go and finagle this. Looks like our protagonist is on an airplane. That's episode 10. It sucks that I'm utterly confused right now. Maybe I should just go to bed and do this again tomorrow. It's not the most exciting live stream. I mean, I could do this on my own time probably. Maybe, if anything, I do this on my own time, figure out what I'm doing, and then do a video about it. Because I did record a couple of videos on how to add subtitles to a Japanese copy of Macross Do You Remember Love, but I mostly went through that process in order to figure out how to add subtitles to this particular copy here. And oh, that's so cool. This is so cool. If I don't know if anybody's watching right now, but if you're watching right now, I'll play something for you that's a real treat. So in Legend of the Galactic Heroes, they have a space fortress called Isilone Fortress. It's basically the Death Star. Seeing the carnage of that, I fell in love instantly. But also, I genuinely enjoy the geopolitical drama. Okay, wait. I think I'm absolutely and utterly confused. So it's got the planet Heinessen. I really hope that the Blu-ray version I have isn't mismatched with the you know, the official one, but we're going to try to figure this out right now. It's okay. Let's see here. There's 2 hours and 24 minutes worth of episodes here. Okay. Every 5 chapters represents an episode. So this is episode 1. This is episode 2. This is episode 3. 4. 5. 6. 6 episodes in this file right here. Okay, now. This is episode 7. This is episode 8. Oh boy. I swear to God, this might be different than I expect. This should be episode 8. I will clean my desktop tomorrow. Okay, this is episode 8, allegedly. And if this is episode 8, then I should be able to rewind this episode to a beginning somewhere right after the opening and see everything the same. See, they're giving the backstory, some lore, you know, like how the Free Planets Alliance got spawned from the Galactic, Empire, Isilone Fortress, and its Death Star super laser-like weapon. These episodes are not matching up here. So, if I could read Japanese, I could probably figure out why, but what we will try to do is look at the book. Let's take a look at the book together and see if we can maybe figure out what my brain is miscomputing right now. Okay? Oh, cool. This I'm going to translate. I suspect some nerd already translated this, but I'll show you a cool trick we can do. It's not really a trick, but it's actually a very useful thing. So if you ever use Google Translate, there it is. See, look, it translated Japanese text. Vuental rescues Mittenmeyer. The Cyoxin drug ring is exposed. Reinhard succeeds. Count Lowengram. So yeah, like we got straight Japanese kanji letters here. But this app here is kindly translating it for us in near real time. You can like take a screenshot or take a snapshot and save it. You can also translate a picture that's already stored in your phone's memory. But at some point, maybe I'll try comparing this to like the chronology and determine if, you know, the chronology I can find on the internet matches what we have here. But for now, what I need to do is actually, I have a real purpose here. Okay, so let me put this down on my keyboard. I want to try to get this, we're going to try to get, because I need to find out what episode. Oh my God, the zoom lens is lined up all wrong. Okay. Okay, that's the first episode. Maybe it'll even tell me this. Oh, come on, give me another episode 1. Okay, good. We got episode numbers. All right, let's see if we can figure this out now. We're looking for episode 8, I guess. So that's episode 5, the Castrup Unrest. It's like I think a coup attempt or some shit. A coup d'etat. A coup d'etat. A coup d'etat. That's French for coup d'etat. Oh, come on. Episode 8, the Cold Artificial Eye. So I don't think my episode 8 for my bootleg version is the same as that episode 8. The Push Talk Incident. I'm trying to find something that has a plain name that I can comprehend. Jessica's Battle. Isilone Strategy. Okay, we're going to start with Isilone Strategy because, I mean, that was shit. What episode was that? I forgot. If anyone remembers what episode number that was just now, please tell me. But otherwise, I'll check again. Oh, it actually has numbers here. I just there's numbers right here, by the way. But anyway, episode 7 should be Isilone strategy. So we're gonna look for one of these two episodes. We're gonna look for the Artificial Eye, episode 8, or Isilone strategy, episode 7. Okay, 7 or 8. 7 or 8. Let's see. We'll figure out either one of these. I just need to really, like, I'm about to not call it quits per se, but I'm about to, you know, wrap up, and I just want to figure this last part out before I wrap it up, you know? So, this one here should be Isilone strategy, I think. No, this should be the other one. This is the Cold Artificial Eye. And I know that because it has this guy. This guy has prosthetic eyes. So you know he's a cold calculating mother effer. That's right, planet Odin. Now, you know one thing I find very weird about these, I don't think these have episode numbers listed in the beginning. So that does kind of contribute to my own confusion. Like, we'll double check right now, but I'm like 80% sure that this will not show me an episode number. So what I can say is this episode 8 matches up with the booklet. So that's all good and dandy. Problem is, I don't know where the hell episode 8 is over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for the part where the blind guy is in the ship flying. And it probably happens here. If I had to guess, oh yeah, X-Wing pilots. See? This is kind of cool. This is one of the things that, when Notorial Lifeform recommended this to me, he mentioned that the fighter pilots were like X-Wing pilots. Right there. So what I love about this show is the fighters are ugly. And I kind of appreciate that they're not going out of their way to make them all pretty. Like, you got a radar dish, you got some beam weaponry on there, and you got some maneuvering, you know, thrusters. But it's like, it's not trying to, you know, be too fake. Now, on the downside, they don't really use Newtonian physics. And you see that they got, like, you know, he's got an ace of hearts. He's got a diamonds on there. There we go. If that is an X-Wing pilot, I don't know what is. I mean, yeah, it's not exactly the same, but, you know, he's got like some like gear hooked up to his chest. It looks like communications gear and maybe some breathing apparatus. Yeah, that's a breathing apparatus because you can see his helmet has like a turtleneck type thing to form a seal. And so, yeah, he's got an air supply and communications gear going into that helmet. Oh, where's our subtitles? Well, we don't know what episode number we're watching, so I can't add them. Oh, wait. Is this the bootleg? Nope, this won't work. Now, one really weird thing, this Laserdisc version, I believe this is a Laserdisc copy. And the process by which it was taken off the Laserdisc is very interesting. Because you're getting like this 29 frames per second playback rate, but when they show you the camera panning, you get this extra smooth panning. Like, that is obscenely smooth. Granted, it's a still photo. It's really easy to pan, but it's just, and I kind of find that kind of cool. Like, just, that's a clean, smooth pan right there. And so, like, a lot of times, the Laserdisc version of this series is actually quite well renowned for its near perfection. We're packing at 29 frames a second for the record. And I was using a surround sound audio track, but we could switch to stereo sound if we want. Oh no, we're in stereo. We're already in stereo. But you know what I will do? I will watch this in surround sound with my surround sound headphones sometime. Man, I can't wait to do that. Man, that'll be fun. Oh, so I need to find what episode I'm looking at. I love when they play this music right before they fire the laser. I'm gonna... Dun, 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 dun. All right, we're done watching Thor's Hammer. I'm gonna just try to figure out what episode we're looking at now. Because I need to figure that shit out. So all I know is that we have episode 8 over here, but it ain't lining up over here. Wait, what's that? What's that? I think I found it. I might have found it. Don't quote me on that until we play it. I think we found it. Did we? I'm confused. Let's go back here and double check now. Oh no, we didn't, because this is the episode that... Yeah, okay. But you know, if we could find the episode that starts like this, I would settle for that. You know, a reverse lookup, so to speak. I mean, it's not even in the same city. This episode is taking place in the Imperial capital. I mean, this whole episode is a freaking Imperial episode, so I know it's not even the right episode. Oh, this is cool. You know, might just play my favorite scene before I go to bed. I said that was episode 8. Or was that episode 8? No. Whatever, that's chapter... Yeah, I'm about to go and do a reverse lookup. Okay, let's go back to the folder. I'm gonna find... Okay, that's episode 8. I bet you it's an earlier episode. I'm utterly confused at this point right now. At least my network connection is fast. Oh, I just found the other episode I was looking for. Hold on. I just found the rebellion one. I think the guy with the German name that I can't pronounce right now. Let's see here. Let's go back here. I think I just found... Yeah, okay, that's that German guy who's trying to start a rebellion, I think. I believe he tries to... Yeah, he tries to plant a BOMB in the palace. So, you know, really up to no good, this guy. That's the airplane landing episode. Okay, well, we know that, but... Okay, so that's episode 10. So, what I'm looking for might take place further down the line. I'm absolutely confused right now. Sometimes it's very interesting. The episodes go back and forth between the Empire and the Rebellion. The Empire and the Rebellion. I mean, they're not called the Rebellion. They're called the Alliance. See, it's another one of those super smooth pannings. These guys are like a cross between Antifa and MAGA. Well, I wouldn't say they like MAGA, but I know a lot of people would say they like MAGA, so I'm being fair. But I'd say they're kind of like... They like Antifa, but they have that patriotic... They act like they're patriotic. Yeah, I'm absolutely confused right now. I cannot find what the F I'm looking for. I should probably just, like... not do this right now and just relax. But real quick, I do want to play my favorite scene. So this lady shows up at like a big like demonstration. They sing the national anthem. So yeah, they sing the national anthem at this big like political function, and the freaking politicians are like trying to take credit, even though they lost the battle. Da, 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 da. And first time they play this song, it's a mockery because super corrupt democracy, and you got all these people just kind of like going along with it. The song says, liberty stands for freedom, something, something, something. Our friends not so far away. Liberty Bell. Oh, little Liberty Bell. They just said Liberty Bell in Japanese. Oh, Liberty Bell. I cannot harmonize the word Liberty Bell. I can't sing. So they drag her out. And she's like, I can walk myself out, you bitches. He's like, would you like a ride? And unfortunately, I don't have subtitles on this version, so we're just going to keep rolling with it. Because I'm mixing up my episode numbers. Okay, that's obviously that like Capitol Hill. So she walks into, like I said, patriotic Antifa. These are the PKCs. That's weird. So I think I just found the Japanese subtitles. I finally found a freaking Japanese subtitle. I've been looking for these. So apparently the barely existent subtitles exist in the form of the occasional caption, such as this one here. But I'm like 99% sure that the central anime subtitles will have that titling in there anyway. But why I'm playing this part is not just because they're about to try to give her a beating. Is they're about to sing the fucking national anthem again. Yeah, I'm not just playing this because these guys who are basically like patriotic Antifa, and it says it in the caption right here. Okay, so this lady just got kicked out of the Congress, got kicked out of Capitol Hill after singing the national anthem. In fact, they kicked her out. In fact, yeah. What is this? 10 whatever? Okay. So this lady comes up to basically say, she basically goes up to the top senator. Okay, so here it is. This lady whose husband died in battle goes up to the top senator, the guy in charge of the armed, subcommittee or whatever, armed forces subcommittee, and says, WTF. And he's like, oh, this poor lady. He's like, this poor lady must be having a something. Basically, he just said she's a little crazy in a polite way. So after she calls the senator out for being an asshole, he basically has them play the national anthem. And the first time you hear this song, it's a mockery. Later on in the series, when they play this song, it has like a bunch of meaning to it if you follow the whole series. Liberty stands for freedom. So they're singing the national anthem, and this is juxtaposed with this lady being kicked out of Capitol Hill. Okay, so she's walking out. She looks at the Capitol building. She's like, this is BS. And as she's walking out all dejected, she bumps into some sketchy characters. Basically, she bumps into a group of what I would call... She bumps into... patriotic Antifa. That, I would say, is like the most accurate thing I could come up with at this moment. So yeah, patriotic Antifa comes by to beat her up, basically. But I'm not amused by them beating her up. I'm amused by what happens in about like 5-10 seconds from now. Basically, he's accusing her of not being a good patriot. So they're about to sing the national anthem. I mean, how creepy is that? The first time I watched this, these guys are about to beat the crap out of a woman, and they start humming the national anthem. In fact, I'm going to record a short, and I'm always going to end this stream right now so I can record the short, because clearly I'm having a bad time trying to figure out the correct episode numbers. So I need to sit down and like identify the chapter numbers or work something out. And until I work something out, which I can sort out tomorrow afternoon and maybe in the next few minutes before I lay down and watch some anime before bed. But I will, you know, figure out what I was having trouble figuring it out right now. I will figure that out before the next recording or stream on this topic. But for now, I'm going to end this stream because I really want to, I really want to, yeah, I want to record a short right now based on that funny scene. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We had a lot of good people tuning in tonight, and just give you an idea, if we go up here, you can just see the chat. We had good people here, and you know, I want to thank them all for dropping in tonight. I know this wasn't the most interesting. I know they would have maybe stuck around. Some of them would have stuck around longer if it was more interesting, and I don't blame them. I was not covering anything too interesting. I was mostly figuring shit out, and talking a lot. You know, really, streaming when nobody's watching is just an opportunity, an excuse for me to talk to myself. It's really great. It can be really great sometimes. Therapeutic, you know? But with that being said, what is that? What is that? Oh, that's a bottle of rubbing alcohol. But yeah, with that being said, I want to thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. Please stay tuned. I will be doing a follow-up, which will hopefully be more pointed. Please like and subscribe. And for now, we shall end transmission. Oh my God, we got the boxing kangaroo here. Hell, I might just stick around for your sake. You know what? If you got 3 seconds... And I got a little interesting glitch here. I don't know who's watching right now because, like, you just dropped me a message in the chat and my statistics are saying nothing. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to refresh my browser. Maybe that's why I haven't been getting good statistics all night, but my statistics have been off. And it's been driving me insane. Okay, so there we go. So I'm going to record a short right now in case you're watching. And then I'm going to end this stream after I recorded that short. Obviously, I'm going to edit this short on my own time. So I'm going to rewind the tape. And I'm going to skip through the scene here so we can have a lot of fun with this here. Alright, so we're going to play a clip from Legend of the Galactic Heroes. And once again, shout out to the boxing kangaroo. Now, basically, we have the senators, we have the top military admirals and generals all assembled. A big battle. They lost a big battle, basically, or at least they won the battle, but just barely. But they lost a lot of, you know, good soldiers. So they have like the top brass at Capitol Hill, along with the top senators, and they try to make this into a whole patriotic function. But this lady comes out of the audience, a woman who lost her husband, and she's basically saying that it's bullshit that her husband got lost. And this guy's incredulous because he's like a blind patriot, obviously. He's like your average NPC. This guy is like Chuck Schumer. He's a piece of shit, you know? You're a piece of shit senator. And I wish I had subtitles up right now, but I don't. But just take my word for it, she's being eloquent. And he's basically saying sorry for your loss. And he's like, we better get in the car right now to pick her up because this is trouble. So they lose the big battle. She basically gets in the face of the top senator in charge of the Armed Services Subcommittee. And he's like, where were you when my husband died? And basically, he calls the soldiers to go take the lady to another room because clearly she's distressed. It's like, oh, please take this woman to another room. But of course, what they're really doing is that they're dragging her out. And he's basically saying, oh, that poor lady, and that's why we must fight, or some crap like that. And they play the national anthem, which starts off with the words, "Liberty stands for freedom." Liberty stands for freedom. That's actually in English right now. Those words are English. Our friends not so far away. Liberty Bell. It's really hard to say Liberty Bell like that. So she gets kicked out of the... So she gets kicked... Okay. So this woman gets kicked out of the Capitol building. And she looks back thinking how corrupt and crooked it is and how she should probably run for office herself because it's all effed up. Then she's walking out, you know, all dejected, right? Because they just kicked her out after her husband died in battle, treated her like a crazy woman when she's definitely not a crazy woman. And as she's walking away, she hears boots crackling. What's that sound? Uh-oh. That sounds ominous. Upset and dejected, and now she's bumping into patriotic Antifa? Yeah. So she bumps into patriotic Antifa, and they basically surround her. So then this guy gives her some words about how she's a bad patriot and how they got to beat the crap out of her. But I'm not amused by them beating her up. No, I'm not amused by that. I'm amused by this. They start humming the national anthem in preparation for a beatdown. And I just found that to be creepy, you know? Like, a bunch of guys in masks go to beat the shit out of you, and they start humming the national anthem. Oh, that's cool. I never paid attention to that. What is he doing? He's got a HPTC. I want to see what it says. Data refer. Okay, data reference. HPTC. Number 0614T. Dusty Attenborough. Oh, he just put the license plate number in for the car and figured out that it was Dusty Attenborough's car. He borrowed a car from a friend. Well, anyway, I'm going to end this stream now. I'm probably going to have to re-record that clip to do a short because I'm so lost. But really, you know, in the subsequent stream, we're going to, or at least in a subsequent video, I'm going to more succinctly cover how to add subtitles to this series after I figure out what chapter on the Blu-ray disc is what episode. Because right now, I'm a little bit confused by the, what appears to be maybe a mixed up episode order. But I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. Dadman, Walking, Keely Chow, Lemon Pie, Swashbuckling, Supersonic, Soprano, September. And I think that was just about everyone. And of course, the Boxing Kangaroo. And, you know, oh, and Bone tuned in early. He went to bed as soon as he tuned in. I understand. Oh, and Action Man Gaming and Sports, which if you want to see a funny video, look up Action Man Gaming and Sports or Action Man Gaming. And it says Action Man Sports and Gaming. Look this guy up. And I did a 9/11 video recently, by the way, if anybody wants to see a 9/11 slideshow. I still got to reply to a couple of comments. But basically it's a slideshow of pictures that a friend of my dad took. My dad, you know, worked for the Department of Sanitation, of the New York Department of Sanitation, and a friend of his who was like either a deputy commissioner or something like that, he took a bunch of pictures that day and the morning after because, you know, sanitation was involved in the 9/11 cleanup at, you know, in Manhattan, lower Manhattan. And so, yeah, I got these original pictures. I would consider them a first-hand historical source. And I even have a picture of a jet engine on the ground. I literally have a picture of a jet engine on the ground. Like, in fact, here it is right here. You can see that's a jet engine. That is a jet engine that fell out of a building. And what I'm showing here is that the jet engine on the ground is really just the core of the inside of this, because this is the 767 jet engine they sell, and obviously have some stuff on the outside. But if you were to have a jet engine fall out of a building after ramming the building at high speed, you got to figure that the front propeller blades or intake blades are going to get broken off wherever they're located. I think they're over here. The compressor blades are also going to get broken off. These are oftentimes made out of a space age ceramic, so these will just snap off. And so when everything's said and done, you're not going to be left with much. If these are made out of metal, they're going to get bent up, and so essentially that's why you have a jet engine on that street corner there. So I have a couple of pictures of like the inside of a jet engine, what's left of one after it's been flying through, and you got like a little ladder over here to show you the size. So the size of the ladder sort of corresponds with the core of this jet engine here. So I tried to combine this particular picture with some sources, because I tried to show this picture to a guy who didn't believe that planes hit the buildings. And I don't blame people. If you were not in New York, I can understand being suspicious of the mainstream narrative. But like, I have a picture of a jet engine on the ground. I have a picture of a jet engine and smoking debris on the ground. Like, literally, we go back like a couple of seconds, that jet engine's emitting smoke, and there's like a picture, like a few pictures there, right there. Like, it's still emitting smoke, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, that's a pretty fresh jet engine from a plane, or at least part of a jet engine. And some guy was like trying to argue, hey, but I see a truck in the background. The guy was trying to imply that the truck must have dropped off the engine. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, if you want to see something like that, check out my recent 9/11 upload. I uploaded on midnight, or like on September 12th. So it's actually, the day I uploaded day after 9/11. But other than that, I will be back soon. So with that being said, thank you for watching. And this time I really will end the stream. I'm going to give it about 20 seconds because YouTube tends to have a slight delay. But I want to thank you all for watching. If, you want to see more, please like and subscribe. What did I say? Leave a comment if you have any questions or comments. Please like and subscribe. And for now, we shall end transmission as soon as I hit this button. And we're ending transmission on my mark.